Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to do something really interesting. We're going to dissect the anatomy of a haunting. We'll take a classic Booth Bangla, a haunted mansion story, and really break down how it builds that creeping sense of dread, layer by layer, until the horror just feels completely real. All right, let's dive in. So, picture this. You've just arrived in a new place, and the very first thing that happens is a frantic old woman runs up to you and says this. And then, poof, she vanishes into thin air. That's exactly where our story kicks off. Not with some jump scare monster, but with this really cryptic, terrifying warning that just instantly tells you something awful is about to go down.
All right, let's get into it. First up, that ominous beginning. The best horror stories, they don't just throw a ghost at you. They build this foundation of dread, this deep sense of unease, way before the real spooky stuff starts. In this story, it's a masterclass in using its characters and its setting to make you feel uncomfortable right from the get-go.
So, let's meet our main characters, because their dynamic is everything. On one hand, you have Nisha. She's a writer, and she's totally drawn to all things mysterious and spooky. Ruins, ghost stories, that kind of thing. And then you have Arav. He's a photographer, all about capturing what's real, what's right there in front of him. So you've got this classic conflict, right? The believer versus the skeptic. And trust me, this is the exact tension that the haunting is going to latch onto and exploit.
Okay, so they roll into this village, Rudhirpur, and right away the warning signs are just everywhere. It's not just one weird thing, it's a whole list of them. The place is totally deserted, even though it's only 6 p.m. Every single house has a burning torch outside. All the doors are painted this chilling blood red, and they've got these strange mantras scrawled on them in black. It's so deliberate, It's designed to build that suspense and make you feel, just like the characters, that you've walked into a place that plays by some very, very dark rules.
And this is where the story gets really clever. Think about it. The first supernatural thing that happens isn't some monster jumping out. It's a warning. That old woman's message about a wedding procession, that's pure, chilling foreshadowing. It just plants this little seed of dread but doesn't give anything away. It leaves everyone, the characters and us, just wondering what on earth is about to happen. So, now we're moving into the next phase. The haunting escalates. This is where the story really shifts gears. We're moving away from that vague, atmospheric creepiness and into a full-on psychological assault. And it's not random. It's aimed squarely at one person, Arav.
And man, look at how this terror just builds and builds. It is a masterclass. First, you have the old woman's warning. Okay, creepy. Then RF sees this horrifying vision of Nisha walking with a ghostly groom whose hand is dripping blood, and when he calls out, it just disappears. Then, the horror literally invades his camera, his one tool for capturing reality. He takes pictures of Nisha, and this phantom groom is in them, getting closer in every single shot. And to top it all off, he starts hearing phantom wedding chants right outside his tent. See how each event gets more personal, more invasive? It's relentless.
This all builds up to that one central, terrifying question. Because here's the thing, only Arav sees this stuff. To Nisha, the photos are great, everything's fine. By completely isolating Arav like this, the story makes him question his own sanity, and it makes us do the same. It's such a classic psychological horror move, and it's so effective. Is any of this real, or is he just losing his mind?
So, right at the moment when Arav feels like he's about to break, that's when the source of the haunting plays its hand. Remember that old ruined mansion they saw before? Well, it's not a dark ruin anymore. Suddenly, it's glowing with light, like there's this huge, grand party going on inside. It's not trying to scare them away. It's doing the opposite. It's an irresistible invitation, a beautiful lure, pulling them in for the final, terrible act.
Okay, let's talk about the mansion's deadly trap. They couldn't resist that glowing invitation, and now they've walked right into the climax. The whole game has changed now. We're done with the psychological mind games. This is about to become a direct, physical fight for their lives.
When they get inside, wow, the trap is just beautiful. The place looks like a royal palace. There's this incredible feast with 56 different dishes served on silver plates. But then you start to notice the details. The hall is completely empty. There are no guests. And that smell, it's not fresh flowers.
It's the thick, cloying smell of dead, rotten flowers. Every single beautiful detail is just hiding something sinister underneath. It's a perfect illusion, meant to make them lower their guard right before everything goes wrong. And then, slam! The heavy doors slam shut behind them. That's it. That's the point of no return. Any idea that they had a choice is just gone. They're not guests anymore. They're prisoners. And this haunting? It's not a game anymore. It's a ritual, and it's about to begin, with or without their consent. What happens next isn't just chaos. No, it's chillingly organized, like a procedure. First, the groom appears, descending the stairs with a dried-out garland. Then, Nisha is possessed. Her eyes turn completely white, and she moves like a puppet. The groom then performs the ceremony, placing the garland around her neck. Ara, of course, tries to stop it, but he's just thrown aside like nothing. And the groom finishes to cursed wedding vows. This whole step-by-step process makes it clear this isn't random violence. This is a ceremony. It has a purpose.
And then, just as suddenly as it began, it's over. There's this single piercing scream, and then everything just vanishes like smoke. The groom, the decorations, the feast, and Nisha. She's gone. Erev is left completely alone in what is now once again a dark, empty ruin. The ritual is over, and the prize has been taken.
So, what in the world was all that about? What was the point of that horrifying ritual? Well, that brings us to our final section, the landlord's cursed legacy. Here's where we get the truth. This wasn't some random ghost attack. This was the fulfillment of an ancient, repeating curse. And our heroes? They just happened to show up at the absolute worst possible time.
So here he is, the true villain of the story, the Zamindar, the landlord of this place from long ago. And his motive wasn't just simple evil, it was a hunt for immortality. He had a deal with some dark power. He would sacrifice brides, and in return, he would live forever. So that wedding ritual we just saw, it wasn't symbolic, it was a literal sacrifice, feeding some ancient, hungry evil.
Eventually, the villagers had enough. They rose up and tried to end his reign of terror by burning both him and his mansion to the ground. But, some evil is too strong for that. The fire didn't destroy him. Instead, it somehow fused his spirit to the ruins of the mansion, trapping him there, eternally waiting for his next bride, cursed to repeat his horrible ritual over and over again.
Here's the kicker. The ritual needs one bride, and it can only happen on one specific night, the new moon. And as Erev tragically finds out, tonight was the new moon. Their arrival wasn't just bad luck, it was a perfectly, fatally timed coincidence.
And this is the final, absolutely devastating rule of this curse. There's no rescue. There's no going back. You can't undo the ritual. Once you become the mansion's bride, the sacrifice is final. Nisha is just gone. Forever. It's the ultimate tragic punchline to all the suspense and horror that the story so carefully built up. And that leaves us with one last lingering question to think about. Remember Nisha, the writer who was so fascinated by spooky stories and dark places? Was this all just a tragic case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or, and this is the really spooky part, did her own deep interest, her constant pull towards the darkness, somehow act like a beacon, calling out to the evil that was just waiting in that mansion? The story never tells us for sure, which leaves us to ponder that very thin, very scary line between curiosity and catastrophe.